Hi, West Texas. I'm Burt Sempier, and welcome into another edition of our VCast series, Chat with the Chief, featuring none other than San Angelo Police Chief Travis Griffith. Chief, thank you so much for coming back.
It's my pleasure. And what episode is it?
I believe it is 35.
That sounds right to me. 35. Man, that's a lot of episodes.
That is a lot of episodes, and we've covered a lot of ground, talked serious topics, talked some fun topics as well. Hopefully we have informed and maybe even entertained a little bit.
I think we've done all those.
I think so. I hope so. So let's get into it. And unfortunately, we need to start with a little bit of the negative news that has made its way around San Angelo. And forgive me for going to the notes, but I just want to make sure that I have everything correct. So SAPD has been investigating two recent drive-by shootings.
Yes, sir.
There was one that took place on March 18th, just after 1 a.m. Gunshots rang out in the 3100 block of Webster. People had called police. When officers arrived on scene, they saw a suspect vehicle that matched one of the caller's description. Long story short, there was a bit of a pursuit. 3 people were taken into custody, 2 18-year-olds and a 15-year-old. Now, a few days before that, on the Saturday before, there was another drive-by shooting, and that one had taken place on, and forgive me as I look forward, Bishop Street. And unfortunately, there were, at the time, a lot of answers that you guys were still looking for.
Yeah, we had very little information came in on that one, very little cooperation. I mean, that makes it a lot more difficult whenever you don't have data points to even start your process forward.
So now that we are over a week past the shooting on Bishop Street, are you any closer to finding any answers? Do you believe that maybe the 3 people that were arrested had something to do with Bishop Street?
Right now, we don't have anything that indicates whether or not there is a connection to that. I mean, we're always looking for that. And then every case that we've had last week, we've gone back and cross-referenced to see if there's any type of connection. And right now, we're still working through the early part of the investigation in regards to that first one on Saturday. And, you know, we'll have to just wait and see where that goes. And right now, there's nothing that we have that we can release that would indicate one way or the other.
Excuse me. The press conference that you had discussing these 2 drive-by shootings, and you announced the 3 arrests. At the time, you were thinking that investigators would be looking at this as gang motivation. Is that still true today, or is your investigation kind of taking you elsewhere? Yeah,
the question in regards to the 3 people that we took into custody and that pursuit that occurred, we definitely, I think we can definitely say that we're saying that that's gang related at this time.
Now to a couple of more violent incidents. Also, on the same day as the second drive-by, there was a deadly stabbing, and a 17-year-old was arrested and charged with the murder of a 16-year-old. And then early Saturday, this past morning, there was a gentleman who was stabbed by another person, but 2 people were taken into custody. That happened right outside of Ranch 125. The fact that you have these 2 deadly stabbings so close to each other, as chief of police, as someone who lives in this community, what kind of thoughts go through your mind?
I mean, it's always something that we take very seriously. It's concerning, right? We have to look at what are we going to do to help provide the best mission forward to prevent is what we can. You know, some of these things are definitely difficult. When you're talking about gang, we can do gang suppression. You're talking about encounters at the bar. That's a little bit more difficult to try to prevent those things. So we look at strategies, what we can do to have force multipliers, what can we do to help keep the community safe. And, you know, a lot of it's kind of happened close, but we've also seen time frames. I've been a cop here for 18 years. We've seen, you know, 6, 7 murders in 1 year before. You know, you're seeing, for whatever reason, just kind of all of a sudden, all within this last period of probably 2 or 3 weeks in Texas, have been a lot more violent attacks, violent murders, violent situations occurring in same or similar type-sized towns as us. And so I think that's one of the things that is difficult about policing is there's never a cop where you want one, right? And so what we try to do is find strategies that help put us in the best place to be able to respond and hopefully prevent.
So last week was spring break, and a couple of the incidents had to deal with younger people. Do you think kids being off from school maybe had any role in that in terms of maybe more free time?
I mean, anytime you see summertime always picks up, and you know when you have that, if they're not at a location that has more supervision, of course I think you're gonna have more situations. It's a terrible thing that when you have it happen in that age group. So I mean, yeah, whether or not you have somebody watching somebody or you don't is gonna have a factor in that.
And then just last point on these recent violent incidents. The incident that happened last Wednesday on Childress Street, a 16-year-old is dead and a 17 is looking at, I would imagine, years behind bars.
Sure.
You always believe that, you know, someone can be saved. You are a religious man, a family man. What would you tell this 17-year-old as he's getting ready to embark on what I would imagine will be a challenging road ahead?
Sure. I mean, well, for anybody in that situation, when you're facing these type of events, is that there's very real consequences for your actions. It doesn't mean that it doesn't take away from the fact that in my faith, right, that Christ is the way, the truth, and the light, right? And there's a way to move forward through that, but it doesn't alleviate the very real consequences of actions. And so that might mean a very long time in a state facility, right? And so with that, I would encourage him to seek the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and lean not on your understanding. And it talks about how you can have a renewing of the mind. And I've seen plenty of people that have gone to prison for a long time that have come out and helped reach youth and helped give examples of what not to do and don't follow their path. And so I believe in that, but it doesn't take away consequences of actions, and that is key to understand for everybody. And that's the hard part with youth, is they feel like they can live forever and nothing's going to stop them. But justice is here for a reason, and the Bible talks about those that are in authority, right, are there to facilitate that. So
we will see what happens down the road. Yes, let's talk some positive news now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this Friday is a big day for the San Angelo Police Department. You have a police academy graduation with all the negativity that you've had to deal with and just, you know, the stresses that come with the job of being chief of police. You must really be looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, anytime you have an academy graduate and get them through all the processes and all the hard work to get there, and it's a lot of investment. You know, from the time of the test generally to the time that they're actually out by themselves doing all the hard work is about a year, right? And so they're into the next phase, which is they're graduated the police academy and they're going to be going into field training. And that's really one of the harder parts of it, actually. Field training is where we see some people that you're taking from just, can you learn something, and you're now turning it in, can you apply something? Can you apply the knowledge that you learned in the academy? And so that's the next step. And so we're praying and hoping that the investment that we've made in these bright individuals, that we can continue to carry that forward, and we see them come all the way to the completion of field training.
I think the obvious question is, as someone who is chief and has been in law enforcement and a first responder for a long time, what would you tell the graduates? But I'm interested, what would you tell their family members, whether it's their wife or husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, kids? You have a family, so what would you kind of share with the families of these graduates?
Yeah, I would say to the family for sure that hold on, okay? It's going to take a little bit of a process, because you see a shift in kind of not necessarily the personality, but I mean, and some of the way they carry themselves, what they do, and how they do it, right? It starts to change a little bit, and to be mindful when you see them become more reserved and pull back a little bit, right? Because you know, a lot of people don't understand that law enforcement, right? Just generalized information. I think it's a little bit higher for San Angelo because of the size of our department. You know, but is 3 to 4 critical incidences that they will see every 6 months. So when you're talking about, that's terrible things that you're witnessing, that you're there, and that you're trying to manage and work through, and you do that every 6 months, right? So when you look at that every month and a half, right, you gonna go to 2 of these things, right? So the average person in their life in America only sees between 3 and 4 their whole life. So be mindful of how they're decompressing and working through. If you see anything, then have those conversations. And we have gone a long ways in the profession, but we have a counselor that we have, that they have a phone number. It stays out of admin. Anybody that time they want to book something, they book it through the doctor, and he is amazing, and that's offsite they meet. And so we encourage them, if you see any red flags there, know that there's some things they're going to see that they might need some help processing through, and to thank them because their support on the home front and what they do to help keep the family going and what they're doing, because there's going to be a lot of late nights and holidays and birthdays that they're going to miss. And so to appreciate them being willing to take up that mantle and walk with us as a community to help keep that first responder grounded in who he is or who she is, and walk through that.
That's some good advice, Chief. Now, this graduation fits under kind of this larger goal that you had. You had said if you were lucky enough to be elected chief, which you were, that one of your main goals was to grow the force of SAPD.
Yes, sir.
You have hired lateral officers. Yes, you have this graduation. I assume you're still actively recruiting. You would love to get another police academy going. How is everything looking in terms of your roster?
Well, we started off like a rocket, and we went really high, really fast, and we ran into the attrition loop. It's kind of what I call it, meaning our attrition rate. How many times do we see people retire, transfer to other departments, or just get out of law enforcement? And that rate is about 14. This first graduating group, we'll see 4. We've hired 1 lateral, so we're actually kind of going the wrong direction. Some of that has to do with the pay and benefits, and some of that has to do with the fact that it's harder to find qualified applicants. You know, we've doubled, in many ways tripled, our numbers on people that are applying to be the police. The problem side of that is we see individuals that are, still struggling with maybe using drugs or being involved in crime or something, that we believe in quality, right, and not quantity. And so we're going to make sure we hold that line. And we're working through budget right now to talk about, hey, what can we see to help and get the police department where it needs to be. A lot of people don't know this. I mean, they just completed a pay study for the entirety of the city, and the police department was highlighted as being, anywhere from 12 to 16% below the average. So just to be in the average, that they're, on the high end, 15, 16% below that. And so when we're talking about competing with places like Abilene, Abilene, their top end police officer gets there at 104 in 8 years, and ours is 85,000 in about 15 on average. So that's the struggle. When you're talking about $20,000 difference between right down the road, DPS is another one we lose people to. So we're being very real and honest that we need some help in those areas. And then when you look at the average of what the state of Texas is, the state of Texas is, for every 1,000 residents, there's 2.11 police officers for most towns, right? That's the average. And the national average is 2.33 police officers for every 1,000 residents. And you can go right down the road and look at Miles, Texas, which is just shy of, I think, 1,000 residents, and they have 2 police officers, right? Well, San Angelo's average is 1.74 when we're fully staffed. And those, you think, that 0.74 going up to that 2 or a little higher than 2, it doesn't seem that much when you're talking about where that decimal is going to be and how that's going to land, right? But the unfortunate aspect is that means that, that's 26 officers, right? Even when we're fully staffed, and that's the struggle. It's constantly been this way for a long time. And I've been talking to council and our city leaders, and I think everybody understands that the needle's going to have to move a little bit. And I know we have a finite amount of resources, and we've been talking about what can we do and how can we move forward, maybe rearrange some things. And that's the topic that's going to be going on for the next couple months here in San Angelo with our city leaders. So I'm hopeful that we're going to see that move. We were talking to Wichita Falls. They had some officers that were getting paid much lower, and since getting their pay increase, they've been able to bolster their numbers. So it does have effect, and we're doing everything we can to fight back with grants and technology and find force multipliers. And that's one thing that kind of a part of our deployment strategy. And we're thankful to the city council for providing us with bump and equipment, and they helped fund a redistricting. So we used a company to go through and look at data and look at geographical barriers, and we're going into kind of our final meeting to talk about putting officers where they need to be based off of data, which is hotspot policing, knowing where you need to put your police based off of the information that's coming in. And so we're seeing that happen. I just think that I believe in San Angelo, and citizens, but they tell us all the time how much they appreciate our police officers. And I think people want to see the police funded appropriately. We're not asking anything crazy above the top, but just be fairly equipped and have the salaries they need to be in comparison to the city.
To that last point about the residents, do you hype up the fact that officers would be working in San Angelo? You have called San Angelo, you believe, the last great place to police.
Yeah.
We know that the residents here love their first responders, they love service members, they love veterans. Do you play, I don't want to say play that card, but do you let, I guess maybe more so for potential lateral officers that would potentially matter, do you talk about the positive aspects of living and working in San Angelo to them?
Yeah, for sure we do. We highlighted, and good memory on that. That is I think that no matter where you're from, San Angelo can be your home. That type of slogan is San Angelo. The problem is it's hard to get someone to see that and understand it and feel that without living here. So a lot of times what we find is people coming back to San Angelo after being in the military or going to college or spending some time here because they see that value. You can look at the roster of our department, and the vast majority are from here, have a connection to here. They lived in a nearby city and traveled here for kind of like this, San Angelo being the hub. So that's the difficult aspect of this, is how do you make that settle? How do you convey something? Because maybe it's a recentism, or what do you want to call it, but if you're living in a place and you're somewhat connected, you feel like, Abilene or Midland or wherever, Wichita Falls is probably just a fine town or whatever. But when you stack it up against someplace else you've lived and have the comparison, that's the hard part. So we do, the quality of life, that's why I want to see us increase what we're spending on the police here, because I want to hold on to that. I want to hold fast to say, hey, we're going to do everything we can to make the quality of life of San Angelo continue to be the place that is the last great place to police. That is, no matter where you're from, you can call it home, right? And that's what we're fighting to do. And every police officer out there in the line that's doing overtime and working on these cases that are doing all this stuff is incredible police work by some incredible police officers that care about the community. And that's what's keeping us from going further into the bad place of crime data, right? Is because we have incredible people that are holding that line.
Chief, any final thoughts before we wrap up this latest episode?
I would say that regardless of what you might classify as a failure or not being where you want to be, stay steady the course and know that your work is not in vain. Keep moving towards whatever that mark is, and know that you're laying the groundwork for whatever that future is going to be.
Very good. Chief Travis Griffith of the San Angelo Police Department. That'll do it for another episode of Chat with the Chief. I'm Burt Sempier. We'll see you next time.